Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. John Kelly, profiler here, and welcome. Today, we're going to be actually breaking down a profile. It's going to be a very interesting profile, so stay with us on Thomas Crooks. Of course, that's the shooter that tried to kill President Trump, did kill another poor gentleman, and did wound a number of other people that were at the rally. I want to send our deepest condolences out to those that were killed and the victims of the shooter. Okay, it's heartbreaking that we have to live in a situation where we have to worry about a president being assassinated and somebody just shooting right at them and into a crowd and not caring what happens to anybody at all in that crowd. It's just a terrible situation. So that's what we're going to be doing the show on today. Most importantly, if you like it, please hit like. And of course, please subscribe. We love your comments, so make sure you comment. We'd like to hear from you. We'll get back to you. Very important. Let us know what you think about our profile today and the way we break it down. You're not going to see it anywhere else. I'll guarantee you that. Okay, so hang with us. Leah, what do you got?
Hey, John. Good to see you.
Hey.
All right. Well, let's talk about Thomas Crooks here. So I want to get your feedback on this guy, break him down. My first question for you here is just, can you tell me what kind of person he is? Is he a loner? Does he hang out with people? Tell me more.
Yeah, he's definitely a loner. Didn't socialize very much. Pretty much, that's usually the type of person that we see in these kind of events. Really walked around with his head hung low at times. Really something that is kind of warning sign to me. Supposedly he had bad hygiene and was teased and bullied a lot about his hygiene and his odor. He was no little kid when this was going on. Okay, I mean, was old enough to know about hygiene and certainly old enough to know about odor. We do not have a history of violence at all with this guy. We have somebody who's very interested in rifles, very interested in shooting a gun and in marksmanship. Also, we have somebody that I really believe was kind of looking at themselves, and feeling like there's something wrong. And I think he was searching, if we have the information correctly, about depression and even major depression. So this is kind of what we're looking at to begin with. But there's more to this as we go forward.
Yeah, no. What was his life like in school? Was he, did he have friends? Was he a good student?
He was a very good student. That's a good question. I mean, he was kind of an excellent student. Nobody was saying anything bad about him in school, except, again, that he was teased or bullied, and a lot of it had to do with hygiene. But he was a very good student. And what's interesting here is he was excellent in math and in science. Okay, and as we go forward, we'll talk more about that. Those are two interesting subjects that he's really good at, and people talked about that.
Okay, so John, one interesting question I have for you, since you're a psychotherapist yourself, I've learned that his parents were both counselors. Can you tell me more about that and what that might mean for him and the situation?
Well, first of all, I feel very sad they lost a son. I mean, that's it's very sad in the whole situation that took place. But what bothers me is his mother and father are both counselors, they're both psychotherapists. I believe both of them, are licensed clinical social workers. Could be wrong here, but I don't think so. bottom line is, were there any warning signs that this young man displayed? And could he have been intervened on earlier? Because if they're two trained therapists, I really believe there's always some kind of warning signs with these people. And I really believe that it should, something should have been identified. I mean, it's hard for me to believe there were none. In fact, I wrote a book 20 some years ago called Warning Signs, a guidebook for parents, and it was about, identifying self-destructive behaviors in your children. And one of the chapters was on hidden violence in your children, right?
Mhm.
So, it's hard for me to try to understand how he could fly under the radar under his parents living with them.
Yep.
Not seeing some kind of warning sign. I mean, we're talking about supposedly bomb making chemicals or chemicals of some sort being sent to the house. We're talking about him searching for depression. That to me tells me he had an interest in depression, looking it up and searching it. This whole hygiene odor thing. I mean, what was that about? You know, why didn't anybody in the house pick that up? I mean, was this actually some kind of a plea for help? You know, to to try and get somebody's attention that he needed an intervention, that something was going on internally in him, and he was carrying around some anxiety, depression, some rage. So I just have concerns about that. I have concerns um, about him growing up in a house with two therapists, a mother and a father that were professionals. And the other thing that I look at you know um, what else went on. I mean, you've got stuff delivered in the mail. I mean, he's definitely on the internet a lot, so I could see how he isolated. Um, and he brought home good marks. So I mean, kudos to the parents as far as that goes. I mean, they see their son doing the right thing and bringing home the marks. But then all of a sudden, there's this information out there on them calling law enforcement on the day of the attempted assassination of President Trump. And, you know, they're alarmed by the way he left the house. And I guess they knew he took the gun with him, but there's not a whole lot on that. I hope more comes out on that. Because there are other times, it seems, when he went off to the range and he took the AR-15 with him to the range. That's what the news is reporting. That obviously wasn't. They didn't see it as a problem. He didn't. He wasn't presenting a problem. They just felt he was going off to the range to target practice, and he actually did that the day before. So the day before, or some days before, he went off to the range to practice before the attempted assassination on President Trump. I just think that there had to be some kind of warning signs. Usually, there's some kind of internalized anger or even rage that gets acted out in some way.
Um, I got a couple questions following up what you went over there. So as far as warning signs go, I mean, you said he was on the internet a whole bunch, looking stuff up. He looked up the term major depressive disorder. The other thing he supposedly searched was Ethan Crumbley, the Oxford school shooter, and his parents. What is your take on that?
Well, when I saw the news that he was searching Crumbly out, was it Ethan Crumbly?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ethan Crumbly and his parents. That has me thinking too, because the wind up with Ethan Crumbly and his parents was that Ethan Crumbly got his parents to buy him a rifle and he took it to school. I believe it was a rifle, could have been an AR-15. And he ended up killing 4 kids and wounding 6 others. And the parents got in trouble too because they bought him the weapon. And, the bottom line was that they were responsible. I mean, they realized, the court said that they realized that he had deep emotional problems and should not have owned a weapon, but they decided to buy him a weapon. They didn't take him to see a specific counselor, even though it was recommended to them, I believe, by the school, the counselor at the school. And so not only did Ethan end up going to prison for, geez, I don't know how many years. I don't know if he got life or whatever. But then the parents, it seems, went to prison each. They both of them are doing like, I think 10 years. I think they got around 10 years each for neglecting their child. And neglect, definitely is can be considered and is considered in most states as abuse. So if you're neglecting your child and you're responsible for your child, and usually most states until they're 18, then it can be considered abuse. And they broke the law. They really did not tend to their child's needs, especially his emotional needs. So I think that the shooter Thomas Crooks was looking at this because he was focused on what could happen to his parents. Okay, if he went through with this act. And I don't think he was too worried about himself because I don't think he felt he was going to survive the attack one way or the other, because along with having the AR-15 all loaded up, he had an explosive or two in the car, and he had explosives at the house. And what's interesting is he made these. Okay, he had the scientific ability to make these. All right, and it definitely he was going to go out with a bang. I believe, he believed he was not going to survive the event, and one way or the other, he was going out, and with a bang into destiny and into history, and he achieved his purpose. A lot of people may not believe this. Not that he uh, killed President Trump. He did not. So he missed out on that. But definitely he achieved his purpose of becoming famous and going into history, because he'll always be remembered as the someone who tried, the person who tried to assassinate President Trump. He'll go down in the history books. He'll be all over the internet. So if fame and fortune, well, I won't say fortune, but if fame, was his purpose, and I believe it was, that he certainly achieved that.
So, uh, going off of that here, with the explosives and everything, do you think that he had any regard for anybody else at the rally, the other rally goers? And I mean, you mentioned his family, like he must have had some regard for them if he's searching, concerned. What is your take on that? He's concerned for others.
Yeah, I that's one of the first things I looked at, because I thought to myself, who's ever shooting at Trump is shooting into this crowd. And you know not definitely probably would not hit Trump directly, but they might hit Trump, or their thinking was they might have probably hit Trump, but they would hit other people. So this person is going through with this assassination attempt, and he is no regard for anyone. He's out to kill Trump, but obviously this guy's a smart kid. He's no moron. He knows that other people are going to get hit too. I mean, if he's got an AR-15 there, and he's just pulling away on the trigger trying to hit Trump, and Trump is in the middle of a crowd, I mean, it's just common sense that other people in the crowd are going to get hit and some are going to get killed, which, one person did and two people got severely wounded. I mean, and that's very lucky too that there weren't more. Thank God for that Secret Service sharpshooter, and knocking him down as quick as he did, because I'm telling you that young man could have done a lot more damage, to people in that crowd while he at the same time trying to kill President Trump. So, kudos to that sniper. He excellent, did an excellent job, and definitely saved some lives. Definitely saved some lives, I believe.
With all that, do you think he's organized? The explosives, drones, everything.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah. Do you think he is organized?
Yeah, he's a very, very organized individual. I mean, you have to realize that once he knew the date that President Trump was going to speak, he then moved forward and put his plan into action, which called for him going out and target practicing, him buying a ladder, him using a drone to scope out the area. Mr. Crooks even had a rangefinder, so he knew how far he was going to be away from President Trump, and just about how far it was that he was taking a shot. Also, the way that he was able to climb up on top of the building and really only by a stroke of luck be identified. But he was extremely, extremely organized. I might be missing some pieces there. Do you see anything at all there in the organization phase, the organization piece? Because he definitely, had it together. He had the bombs made. He had one in his car or two in his car, some at home. I mean, he had it planned again to do the deed and, to just, commit suicide, you will, in a way, because this will be suicide by cop or Secret Service or something. And then off he would go into history. That's the way it looks to me. That's what he felt his destiny was going to be, that he would be known forever. And like I said, he will be. But everything that I know so far was pretty organized about him. This was just not show up and take a quick shot or something. I mean, he had everything pretty much scoped out.
What going off that then? Do you think he's narcissistic? Because or was there any sign that was there any like manifesto or notes that he left?
I can't diagnose him. I've never seen him. I've never met him, and this is just my opinion. I think we're dealing with bottom line, narcissism. I want to be famous at all costs. I don't care how many people die. That's that. If that's the price of my fame, fine, let it roll. Okay, because I want to be famous or infamous as I go down in history. And I don't care, how many people get killed here in this shooting, because we don't know if there's kids, adults, who was there. I mean, he's just firing away, okay, with that AR-15. As far as the narcissism goes, I think this is probably somebody with a high degree of narcissism. I have to believe there's some depression blended in there too. I mean, maybe some type of anxiety disorder. Again, I'm not. This is just my opinion. I am not diagnosing him. Yeah, I've never met him, obviously. But when you talk about these different mass murders, these different shooters, we always usually see some kind of visual warning signs, like the posting online of hate speech, posting online about resentment, towards a political figure, if it's a political target that they're looking to go after. I mean, you usually see that. You usually have people talking about it in some which way, shape, or form, talking about it around other people, a lot of hate speech, auditorily going back and forth between him and others. Nothing like that. We do have a supposed email that was sent to a gaming platform, or somebody on some kind of gaming site, where he said, keep an eye out for my premiere. He was my premiere act, or my premiere actions, or whatever thing, or I'm going to do something, kind of, not using the same words, but spectacular or something, on Friday, July 13th. I thought there was something like that. Did you come across something like that?
Yeah, so um, he posted on the platform Stream gaming platform, in quotes, July 13th will be my premiere. Watch as it unfolds.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, watch as it unfolds. Okay. And his premiere, what?
July 13th will be my premiere. Watch as it unfolds.
Yeah, my premiere. Watch it unfold. Okay. So, I mean, he is, I mean, that's a narcissistic statement, if you will. Okay. Watch my premiere. Watch as it unfolds. Put your attention on me. I'm going to be the man. I'm going to be the big shot, you know, on July 13th, right? Watch as it unfolds. Keep your eye on me. So, I mean, yeah, I think this was all about fame, him wanting to be famous. I'm not saying that this is not a clinically rich situation or case here, because I think there are some other things, that we have to be aware of. I think we have to be aware of, the supposed teasing, the supposed bullying at school, the supposed walking around with an odor, bad hygiene. Although and then we have somebody that gets good marks and does really well in school. It's kind of an oxymoron in a way. He is, in a way, acting in, two different kind of personalities, like really smart on the ball, attentive in class and everything, but for himself, and that can be the, underlying low self-esteem, which can contribute to any kind of depression or whatever. Like, I'm not, he's not taking care of himself. you know, and people are teasing him and bullying him about it, and he's still not getting the message. And so I don't know. I don't know what that is. Um, but I really see a big focus on me, and fame, and watch my premiere. Okay. And that's a really good word that he used, although it's horrific for what his attempt was going to be at a premiere. But without any regard for anybody, that bothers me more than anything. I mean, not only was he focused on killing Trump, I can't see how he cared about anybody else that he shot because that crowd was so big and so bunched together. I don't know how anybody could shoot into a crowd like that multiple times and not hit other people. So obviously, I don't see any empathy. And if there's no empathy, I don't know, if we have any guilt. And again, these are just my opinions. All right, based on what I know, based on the information, and looking at exactly what happened.
Go back a little bit here. I wanted to bring up too that supposedly there's no actual record from the school district on this, but there was rumors that he was in a gun club or tried to sign up for one, and he was a bad shot, so he didn't make the team. Now I don't know if that's true or not, but what do you think that would have any impact on him?
I think it certainly could have an impact on him because he was such a high achiever in school and such a good student. But yet, if that's true and he didn't make the shooting team, I think that could have caused him to feel pretty bad. That he failed and did not achieve in something that he seemed to be very enthusiastic about. He seemed to be a gun enthusiast, right? I mean, he was interested in shooting and being with his father and joining a club of some sort or joining the range and going out to the range and firing and learning how to become a better shot. you know I mean, and this was probably years earlier, when he was not good with a rifle and felt he needed more practice, so off he went to get more practice. But you can see, up until he was shot by that sniper and killed, that I mean, he had learned some stuff. He had learned about, what angle to be at, where was a good angle. So he picked the roof. He had the drone to help him find the angle, to help him find the roof. Okay. He had a rangefinder, supposedly, that he used. Okay. So at this point in time, this guy has gotten much better with a weapon. Okay. And handling a weapon and knowing more about weapons and other things that go along with handling a weapon and how to use it and what's the best position to be in, for the type of shooting you're doing. I mean, he obviously learned some things, I believe, since he kind of failed or was disqualified, if that's truth, from that rifle team in school.
All right, so getting close to wrapping it up here, John. I want to ask you, given that he doesn't show any strong political beliefs, but he was a registered Republican, why target Trump? Why target
I've saw that and I've analyzed it, and I totally believe the reason he targeted Trump was for selfish reasons for himself. I just believe he wanted to kill a famous person. Okay. And I mean, he was a registered Republican too, right? Yeah. So, I mean, I think he just wanted to kill a famous person so he could become famous and go down in history. And again, my opinion only, but I believe that that's what was feeding that narcissism. That was going to be his premiere. That was going to be his notoriety. I mean, he would be alive forever in certain words, in certain books. Certainly, he knew the internet better as well, or better than most people, and he knew that in years and decades and even centuries to come, okay, that his name would be there, alongside President Trump's name. The man that tried to kill President Trump, although in his mind, I believe he felt he was going to pull off the deed, but yet he failed again. So he failed, and he's going to go down in history as failing in his murder attempt on President Trump, but he's going to go down in history as attempting to kill President Trump. And his name will be there. So he achieved that. He achieved that notoriety, and infamy. It's infamy.
I mean, that's all I got for you, John, here. You do
Well,
the
thank you so much. And you were a big help with those questions because it's just a lot. It's clinically rich. There's just a lot of moving parts to this. And we'll see what else comes up. And we may have some more we have to go over, and if you see anything, certainly, just let me know. But with that being said, to our audience, thank you so much for hanging in. I hope you found this interesting. I hope you found my take interesting on this. I hope you continue to keep an eye out for yourself out there. We live in a very dangerous world, as you know. Most importantly, keep your eyes open and take care of yourself. And, try to have a great day out there. Take care. God bless. Until next time. Thank you.